Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we're going to talk about Supergirl Season 1. It's not Season 1, Season 2, Episode 9. It's called Supergirl Lives. We've been doing a lot of Season 1s recently, okay? It's just.
Yeah. I mean, it's not been on for 2 months, so you reverted a year. I get it.
Aye. No, you can't talk about reverting years. You shut your mouth. You shut your
Shit.
mouth. Anyway,
I forgot about that.
full spoilers for the episode, as always. And this was the one, of course, directed by Kevin Smith, and it's called Supergirl Lives, of course, is a reference to the fact that he wrote a script called Superman Lives, which Tim Burton was going to direct. I won't go too much into that. There's one thing I'll explain just for a joke that pops up in this episode. There's a nice little reference.
Yeah.
But there's a fantastic documentary called The Death of Superman Lives, which goes through this movie that almost got made with Nicolas Cage as Superman and didn't, and it's a good watch.
It's well worth watching for anyone remotely interested in this stuff.
Yeah, it's a really good watch to see all the weird, like, don't get me wrong, like, Zack Snyder has ruined Superman, but this was going to ruin Superman even more than Zack Snyder has somehow.
I don't know if it'd be more. It'd just be ruined in a completely different way.
His cape came off, had a sentient life, and decapitated people.
Okay, maybe it is more.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for that. So the one reference in the episode to that movie, beyond the title, of course, which they did, is when they're on the alien planet and the alien dude's making some soup. Mon-El says, "Oh, it's Thingarian snare beast," and I think we're the dessert. In the script for the movie, there was this crazy producer who was working on the movie who insisted that there'd be a giant spider monster at some point. So when Kevin Smith wrote the script, he came up with Thingarian Snare Beast. And
Yes.
Thanagar, of course, is the planet that Hawkman and Hawkgirl are from, so it's like a reference to them. But yeah, so that's what
Interestingly, while we're on this little bit, I did read an interview with Kevin Smith saying in the original script he wrote in a scene where they fought a giant spider, just as a reference to it, but they just couldn't make it fit, so they took it out and just put this in instead.
Honestly, that'd have probably blown a lot of money on that scene as well.
Yeah, but it might have been worth it just for the the laughs of it.
But we did have lots of aliens. We had a Dominator show up, which was a cool moment.
It was, and I love that they reused the theme from the crossover.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed this episode a lot, if that's not clear. Obviously, we talked about
Yeah, it was a great episode.
references a bit. I have minor nitpicks. One character arc sort of nitpick, and a couple of... The other ones are all just kind of... Some of the guest actors they had in for, like, Scientist Student, Victim Number 2 were...
Yeah,
ropey.
the scientist doctor kind of guy.
Who turned into an alien, yeah, him.
Yeah, he was awful.
He was
Especially
bad.
that final scene was atrocious.
The first kid that he introduced... That we first see, we don't see the portal, but we see sort of the other side of it.
Yeah.
That kid was awful, and sorry Smith, but your daughter can't act either.
I'm not sure I agree entirely on that one.
She couldn't act in this,
I thought she was fine. She was nowhere near as bad as these other two.
with the exception of it. Like, I really like the point of the scene where they all stand up for Supergirl. It's a fantastic scene. Her telling us what the point of the scene was in dialogue at the end. Eek.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was her fault though.
It was delivered poorly as well, though. Come on.
Yeah, it wasn't
Come on.
great. It wasn't
Anyway,
amazing.
That's other than one story thing that I'll get to later. That was my only nitpicks. I had a lot of fun with the plot. They going to another planet. Win was hilarious
Oh
this
my
episode.
God. Wynn has solidified himself as my favourite character on the show.
I'm not a red shirt. I'm not a red shirt. I'm not a red shirt. And then he punches the guy out. I'm not the red shirt. He's the red shirt.
Oh, it's so amazing. I also think he's one of the best actors on the show as well.
It is really good.
His delivery when he was talking to James, where he's like that he didn't want to go back out there, was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny because I almost felt that was a little bit rushed, but then his acting sold me on it.
Yeah,
Like, I was ready to complain and say it felt too rushed, but then he did it.
he
and it was
really
fine.
goes for it, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's actually really good. Having someone that good in a supporting role, that's actually really helpful with the show, because obviously Melissa's really good. We always praise how good she is.
Yeah, and you've got David Harewood as well, who's very good.
Who at one point I thought wasn't going to pop up, because we were about halfway into the episode, and I was like, man, Jean's not popped up yet, and then literally the next shot has Jean. I'm like, god damn it.
Every time.
I know, I keep thinking we're not getting Jean, and then he just pops up out of nowhere. Damn Martians, they're sneaky buggers. But one was on fire. Mon-El was generally pretty funny in this episode as well. He had some good moments. Obviously, some of the plot relates to his mystery stuff. Although another standout comic moment, though, one of my favourite lines of the episode was from Snapper Carr.
Oh my god, yes.
There are two things in the Venn diagram that I care about right now.
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram. What did I say?
Van digraph. Not sure what you said. You made something up.
Aye, my words are mangled together. What do you want from me?
To
Hey,
get
it's
Venn
not
diagram.
like I don't know the word diagram. I just said diagraph. I mixed graph with diagram, and I came out with this other word. All right.
All right.
The point is, the next part of the sentence was,
Yeah.
there's coffee, and there's. Oh, it wasn't
Danish.
donuts. It was Danish. Yeah. There's coffee, and there's Danish. And then he went on. It was just, it was cracking me up.
Oh, he was so good. That entire first bit with him was just perfect.
And people were shoving things in his arm, the newspaper,
Oh,
and
that
then
was
Jimmy,
it, yeah,
then
yeah.
Jimmy put his article in his
just
armpit.
kind of just balancing it in,
It
and
just
he's
went
just
in.
complete of no reaction, just deadpan. Let it happen. It's great.
My only complaint is they missed the beat, because later on in the episode when Kara comes storming in and slaps her article down on the desk, I wish there was a Danish just sitting there for the article to hit. That would have just made that perfect.
I would have.
But he does give her a little, not when she's in the room, because why would he show her affection when she's there? But he does give her a little way to go Danvers when she leaves, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plot is that this woman shows up and her daughter's missing. She's like, help me, blah, blah, blah. Kara's like, yeah, of course I'll help you because I'm a hero. And Snapper's like, what are you talking about? Don't tell you're going to help her. We're reporters. This is a Bourne story. Get out my newsroom. You know, that's the gist of it. So she goes to help. She gets, what you call it? Maggie. She gets her to get some info from the police station. The name escaped me for a couple of minutes. It's been 2 months, people, alright? I'm getting back in the groove.
Yeah, but Maggie's one you know.
I do. Well, this is the point. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just that I keep forgetting words. Right, so she gets information off Maggie, which was interesting in and of itself, seeing them have a scene without Alex.
I think it's maybe one of the first ones, if not the first one we've had, really.
I think so. Yeah, I can't think of another one.
Yeah.
But that was a nice little touch. But Mon-El shows up and he's all bum hurt because she was all, you don't care, you're hiding behind the bar. And he's like, well, I'm going to come in and help. I'm going to follow you around. Yeah, I'll come and help. Why not? And they track it down to this place that's doing like tests, this medical test. That's how they're luring people in. And we see, evil doctor guy. And he opens up the portal and, of course, turns into an alien. And Supergirl follows through and she's like, right, I'm going to go and get all these people are obviously through this portal. I'm going to go and get them. Mon-El, you go tell Alex, DEO, go get everyone, rally the troops.
Yeah.
I'll go and make the first defense. And
I
Mon-El,
love that she's throwing her clothes back to him as well at the same time.
funny. Yeah, that was a nice little twist on the whole changing of the outfits. But Mon-El, the tit, decides to step through the portal a minute later. I'm like, tell me he called someone before he came in here. Because that portal's going to shut. Because I'm sitting
As soon as it happens, you know what's going on.
Yeah, the portal's going to shut. We know it's going to shut. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it shut? And they get trapped there. Red Sun, of course, as well, so they have no powers. Mon-El.
What a tit.
You're such a fool, Mon-El. I love you, but you're such a fool. And so, despite him trying to convince her to run in the opposite direction, they go towards the giant space station building with all the slaves.
Yeah.
And we learn a few things. We learn that Daxam had slaves, which we may have known anyway, in passing. But this was the first time it specifically. He's like, yeah, Daxam had slaves, and
Yeah.
we learn about this. And she makes a crack about the prince, and we're pretty sure he was the prince.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we're on the same page with that. Yeah. And they get captured pretty quickly. Go up to the front door. Of course, not before they meet their alien friend who's cooking the Thangarian snare beast soup.
Yeah. Joe, I think his name was.
Was it Joe? Yeah.
Something like Joe. So it was something really normal, I'm sure it was.
Which is weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
You expect sort of Xanagathu or something
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no, it's Joe.
Yeah.
But so they're trapped up, and Supergirl's with all the prisoners, and she makes this great little stand. We see a Dominator. Dominator's the one buying all the slaves, which is pretty cool. It's nice that we can have that character from the crossover, just maybe not a specific character, but this alien race from the crossover just walk in and just be there.
Yeah.
That's cool. And it's really solidifying the idea that Supergirl is the space show as well. Not space in the sense that they're out in space a lot, but they have all the alien species and stuff.
Extraterrestrial threats.
Yeah, it's building that network, because obviously at the end, the Dominator tells the random soldier to, no, don't shoot Mon-El. He is not to be harmed, and then he bows as if he's royalty.
Yeah.
and it's connecting all these things. So the Dominators know about the Daxamites and all the rest of it, and it's bringing everything together. It feels like it's all linked and networked, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But no, we get Supergirl's great moment where she stands up, even though she's got no powers, and she takes like jolts and jolts and jolts from this electro gun. I was like, prisoners, maybe you could have jumped in after the second one, didn't have to wait for 5.
Yeah, no, it was a bit selfish almost. It was kind of like, how long can we leave this before we have to do something? Like, maybe they'll stop after 3, maybe 4. All right, 5. I guess we should do something.
Yeah, so they all jump in. They punch everyone out, including Mon-El. He helps as well. And of course, Roulette's there. We've not mentioned Roulette, who's the one who's helping take the humans off Earth and go into this planet.
She's a pro at that, to be fair.
Yeah, she is. And I have no doubts we'll see her again.
Aye.
But, so, yeah, they make their escape. But it's a nice moment. It's a nice, Supergirl. It's the idea of, even though she has no powers, showing that she's still a hero by standing up regardless and inspiring those around her. It's a very typical Superman-esque story, but it always works.
Yeah, this one very specifically actually reminds me of the Superman and the Legion story by Jeff Johns, where they go to a planet with the red sun and he still has to like inspire them to do the, all the stuff. It's very specific that this one felt like that to me. Yeah,
Red Planet and all the rest of it. Yeah, so no, it's a very, very typical Supergirl story in that sense, but inspirational. Everything works. There's a lot of fun stuff at the start. Actually, we didn't mention the opening scene. I love that we had. This is actually a weird thing for it to remind me of, but it reminded me a little bit of some of the opening scenes from RoboCop 3. And if you've seen RoboCop 3, you might know what I mean. And you've got this group of criminals, and they're looking out the back of their van. And they're like, "Is she there? Is she there?" Because in the movie, it's like, "Oh, is he there?" And we see like RoboCop kind of like drive up. But I love this introduction to her, because it's especially nice because we've had a couple of months without an episode. So having this great introduction where they're like, "Is she there? Is she chasing us?" And then we see her swooping in, and she goes into a rocket and uses her heat vision. Which, by the way, solar grenade to give her some powers for a couple of minutes. Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Why not?
Which, by the way, obviously we talk about Wynn being a lot of fun. I thought Alex had a lot of fun little moments as well throughout all this. Her calling dibs on the alien gun.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was good. And when Wynn's like wimping out and he doesn't want to go, Alex comes over and says, "First time I went out on a mission, dude, I was scared as well." I was like, "Did you just say dude? Did Alex just say dude to someone?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wynn's little arc of being scared because he gets knocked out and he's almost killed by the guy with the gun and he doesn't want to go in. Like we say, the acting really elevates it. And then at the end, when he does get a chance to stand up against the alien and realise he's not a red shirt, and then him coming into the office at the end with Jimmy,
it was
being like, "I'm a badass. Yeah, you protect the streets. I protect the stars." Yeah,
so good.
All that's super fun. And Alex again had a lot of super fun. Her giggling at the start of the episode when she enters the scene at the DEO.
Yeah.
And like Kara's like asking her stuff, and she's like, "Oh, Maggie spent the night last night."
Isn't it?
Yeah, and they're giggling, and she's all happy, and she's trying to pretend that she's cool, and she's, even though she's got her arm on the counter, everything about it's like she's, "Oh, I'm fine, everything's normal, everything's cool," and it's almost like she's relieved that Wynn's got a black eye, because like, "Oh, what happened to you? Yeah, that's interesting. That's way different from anything I've got going on. Let's talk about the black eye." Yeah, which is why I do have one complaint about her plotline in this episode.
Go on.
The whole, Kara's in trouble, I am immediately going to break up with Maggie, because clearly this happened because I was not focused on my job, felt really forced.
Did a little bit, yeah.
It felt super forced. It especially felt forced when it was fixed by the end of the episode. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they fixed it, and I like how
that's the same thing for me. It's like, okay, I want it to be fixed because I don't want this to go on.
Yeah.
But did it need to be here in the first place?
Yeah, I'd rather the... Especially since we already had Wynn having this little character arc about being scared and him getting over it. Like, Alex needing one as well on top of that felt a bit much. We didn't really need her to have her own like full arc in this episode. And all it would have taken was, this is why I can't just sleep in the morning, I have to take my job. She could have had still like a mini arc without the whole forced, we're through, this was a mistake, and then at the end of the episode she has to go grovelling. But don't get me wrong, I like that Maggie figures out that Kara's Supergirl, and that's why she was so worked up. And I was actually, before she brought it up, I was expecting Alex to just flat out say
no, this is why, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought this is actually the reason. Like, if she actually says, no, Supergirl is Kara, I was worried because it's my sister who was missing, not just because it was Super. That would have actually solved the problem. Like, the lie was almost in the way of them making up, but then Maggie figured it out anyway, which was fair enough, but...
I agree. I think it would have actually been better for her to tell her.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I felt like it just would have... It would have worked better from her perspective. Because, sure, this was nice for Maggie, because it's like, oh, yeah, she can figure it out. She's smart. But we know that. We know she's smart. We don't need this extra thing, whereas this could have worked a lot better for Alex to have to tell her.
It'll work better for Alex in the sense that because it's their relationship and she's the one that's flaked out, essentially, in this episode, it would have worked better for her if she extended that branch. If she's the one that said, look, no secrets, here's why I was so worried, here's why I was freaking out earlier. This is the reason.
Exactly.
But part of my problem with this whole... Not only was it that this whole middle part of it feel a bit forced, it just kind of felt out of place as well, because this happens before she goes on the mission to save Kara. And when she goes on that mission, she's dropping one-liners about, oh, I called dibs on this gun, which was really good and really fun. But it kind of clashed with where her mindset was at that point in the episode, in her story.
It did, and that's totally fair. I mean, you kind of justified yourself by her going, she's on the mission, she's trying to forget about it by, you know, going into the role of let's have fun with this while we're here. But
what one-liners though?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little much, isn't it?
That one's the step too far. So that felt a little bit shoehorned in, the sort of breakup part of it. But all the stuff at the start with her being happy, them being happy in the apartment, her giggling with her sister, all that stuff was fun. And then at the end, I liked how it was resolved. It was just... I could have done with
it's like I'm in the place now where I like where it's going forward still.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the little 20 minutes or so that happened in the middle.
Yeah. So they could have went a better direction with that. But otherwise, that would be my one proper complaint about the episode. But otherwise, I had a lot of fun. We had cool aliens. We had some cool action, especially the intro. And one thing about the music I really liked, actually. Obviously, the music's generally good throughout. The scene towards the end when Mon-El comes over to Kara's apartment, and he does the whole thing where he pulls the cover over his legs as well, and they're making the small talk, and they're having this nice little scene where they're showing their chemistry. Although I have to admit, they're selling me more that they're a brother and sister than they are a couple to me. I don't know if it's just me getting those vibes. It feels more platonic.
I don't know.
No, I feel like they want it to be not platonic, but what I'm actually getting from it is platonic. I'm getting. I don't know. It feels not exactly what they want it to be.
Fair enough. I'm not personally getting that, but
I think the chemistry's good. It's just not the chemistry I think they're aiming for.
Well, fair enough. I've not been having that problem, but I'll be on the lookout for it now, I suppose, and maybe I'll notice it more next time.
It was just, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that they didn't, because I was a little worried that they were going to rush it and they were going to like kiss or something at the end of the scene. And it's a CW show, so it's kind of a possibility that it could happen in almost any episode. Yeah. So I did appreciate that, no, they're going to have this nice moment where they bond a little bit, but it doesn't have to be any further than that. We can leave it, and we can come back, and we can let it build. So, maybe by the time they do try and make it romantic, I won't be as...
It won't be as much of an issue.
Yeah, because they have built it up a little bit better by that point.
Yeah.
But that was when they were talking, the music, when he was talking about wanting to be a superhero, and she was joking about, oh, you want the cape, you want the outfit, blah, blah, blah. The music was doing this nice little... it was like a space movie, it sounded like. It sounded a little bit like... something like Contact, or even what's that, John Carpenter? Maybe Starman. Like, there was this little... Not a space movie in the sense of, like, we are in space, like Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff. More space movie, like, where it's people about dreaming about the stars, where they're on Earth and they're looking up and that kind of thing. It had that kind of wonderment in it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was wondering if they were maybe building up to his superhero theme with that. Like, maybe that's what his theme's going to be. It
might still kind of develop into that.
Yeah. But I was just, because I was noticing, it was new anyway, like I was noticing it and I was going, oh, that's different. That's not a cue that what they've had before.
There's a few things, like Roulette's theme I liked a lot more in this one than her previous episode. I feel like in her previous episode, all the music was kind of like that Fight Clubby, stuff. Whereas in this, it was fitting with all the other regular themes and the planet and the space, all that. And I thought it was more subtle, toned down a little bit, and it was over quicker, and it worked a lot better.
Yeah. But no, that was a good episode of Supergirl. I'm glad to have it back. It was a lot of fun. We had fun space adventures, other planets, and we had lots of good character moments. The dialogue was, like I say, other than the one really on the nose, you're not going to give up on us, Supergirl, so we won't give up on you either. That felt really forced, and like, you know, we already got the point. You don't have to hammer it home.
Yeah.
The rest of the dialogue, though, was so on the point throughout the episode. It was really good.
Yeah, there's another, like, obviously these shows are always in sync with real time, like, more or less. And it was right near the start, after she took out the...
Oh, is this another
robbers.
TV show reference that they seem to do every few weeks?
No, it wasn't even that one. It was just the way she was saying how she's just been in a funk. It's just been jewelry thieves, bank robbers for the last, like, few weeks. And it's like, okay, she's just been doing this for the last couple of months while I've been off the air.
All right, okay. Because they referenced the night of, because they've mentioned that they watched shows together before, and they've name dropped Game of Thrones, and I think they name dropped something else at one point.
Yeah, and obviously Stargate.
Well, I was Win. But Win's the nerd, though. Win's the one who's going to bring up the movies.
He was excited by that.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, it's Stargate. Oh god. Nah, I'm really glad to have Supergirl back. It is a lot of fun, and obviously the finale, or the mid-season finale, suffered a little bit from having to kind of wrap everything up and then tease the crossover at the end of it, whereas this one felt more, this was solid Supergirl from start to finish.
I agree.
And before we go, because we're idiots and we forget to talk about probably the biggest thing in the episode.
We get so caught up in the fun that we forget about the actual plot. I
get caught up in Danish's coffee and red shirts, okay? That's basically what happens.
Forgive us.
But yeah, so we seen a glimpse of these, I think, in the first half of the season. We knew that someone was hunting down Mon-El. Someone was after him. And at the end of the episode, these two, presumably Daxamites, although they could be from elsewhere, but they're covered up, so I'm just assuming they're from the same place. They might not be.
Yeah.
They're hunting Mon-El, and they ask crappy doctor actor if he was here, and he's like, yeah, he was here, but he's left, he's on Earth, and then they assassinate him, like, right in the spot.
Yeah, and that's when his awful acting is. He's like, no, don't do it.
I was like, it's a good job Roulette wasn't standing next to him, because we'd lose her as well, but we need to keep her around for probably a future appearance.
Exactly. I think it was very notable they didn't say his name. They just showed a picture.
No, they did say his name.
Did they?
Yeah, they said Mon-El. Was Mon-El of Daxam here? They said that.
Oh, did they? I could have sworn they just said, was he here?
No, they definitely say Mon-El.
All right, okay.
If they don't say Mon-El, the Doctors definitely says Mon-El, but someone says Mon-El in that scene.
Maybe I'm misremembering then.
I think you are.
I was just thinking that I remember them having the picture and going, oh, is he here? And I was thinking, I don't remember hearing his name, so are they just going, maybe that's not his actual name?
Well, we'll check before I put this up, and I'll have it come up on the screen saying if you're right or an idiot. And
I feel like I'm probably just being an idiot at this point.
Probably. But no, we had to mention that. That was a big plot point coming. Because obviously, I feel like this is gearing up to be the plot of the second half of the season, is these people hunting down Mon-El and where that's going to go.
Yeah, and it leads into the idea that he's probably the prince, and that's why he's a high-value target, not just some random guy.
Which also ties into the Dominator bowing and like, no, he's not to be harmed. Like, they clearly know who he is, and that's a big deal. Which maybe ties into his story of, I want to be a hero now, and she's inspired me.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Works even better because he's coming from this place. But how will everyone take it when they find out he's actually a royal dirtbag?
Aye. It's the things like where he says earlier in this episode that there's a lot of things about Daxam he didn't like the slavery.
Mm.
But you're like, oh, you're a royalty. You could have done something. So I hope they bring that sort of stuff back up.
Yeah, clearly he was willing to let it go when he was there, or he didn't,
because he had the power and the position and the privilege.
Or at the very least, he was ignorant about it. He was ignorant about the issues of the world. Which ties into what he's been like on Earth so far. He's stayed out of the way. So I'm not hiding. I don't want to get involved. That's his character. But hopefully, him growing out of that can be a big thing. If I was to make a prediction right now, I think he's dying at the end of the season. I think he's going to redeem himself, but he's going to do it in a blaze of glory when he dies.
I can see it, which is a bit annoying because I like him. But that's why they do it.
It'd be a fun, because it means we don't have to necessarily force the relationship for a long time if he goes out and he gets to be a tragic hero rather than
Yeah, we don't have that many of those in the CW verse yet, do we?
Was that sarcasm?
No, but we don't
Okay.
actually have that many of those yet.
Yeah, we got
So I wouldn't feel that tropey.
we got the first Firestorm, Ronnie. He went
Yeah,
out
and then
a hero.
yeah, he did, and then Laurel, I suppose, arguably. I mean, that's what they that's what they wanted.
Yeah, when she stood there and got stabbed for no reason.
Look,
Yeah.
I didn't say it worked. I'm saying that's what they wanted it to be.
Okay, sure. That'll at least make Arrow interesting this week. Well, I shouldn't get into Arrow talk on here. That's just Supergirl. Let's not disrespect the Queen, shall we?
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, that's a returning episode. Supergirl lives. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. You can see our personal Twitters on the screen. Email us at mildfuzz@gmail.com if you want to. And I think that's everything. And yeah, obviously the Flash is on tomorrow. We'll be back for that as well.
And Legends.
And and Legends is Tuesday night.
Let's move. Do not forget, people. They've moved it to a Tuesday because they are evil and hate us.
Yeah, I can't explain taking 5 minutes to remember Maggie's name, but I can explain forgetting that's moved because it was on Thursday before. So yeah, join us again for the Flash tomorrow, and yeah. So thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.